A much needed good news week for reform this week. Welcome back, everybody, to our by-election roundup. We are going to dive straight into those by-election results, but first I just want to very quickly plug my X account here that you can see on the screen. I created this in November 2024, as you can probably see on the screen there. I really haven't used it very much, but I am trying to use it a bit more now. So if you have an X account, please do go and follow elect_watch UK over there. I'm starting to use it a bit more, and I'm starting to bring in some unique content for X as well. So I haven't done one yet, but starting next week, there's going to be a by-election preview thread. So previewing the by-election on the Thursday, and then, of course, we'll keep doing the by-election roundup here on YouTube on the Friday. And that's going to be new. I've been doing this poll of polls on X as well, which is a bit of fun. But I know you guys, the sort of content you're into, you'll be more, I think, excited by the by-election preview. So, yeah, do go and follow me over on X for that. And now we will get into the by-election roundup. But as promised in the video title, it wasn't clickbait. All new charts this week. Now, I'm really excited about this because a number of you, ever since I've started doing the videos, actually, really, a number of you have been saying, could you make the charts look different? Could you change some bits and pieces? And I've always had to say no, because they're not my charts. I've been using Election Maps UK, their website, which is brilliant. But I thought it was time to bring things in-house. I was actually going to debut these on the live stream that we're doing. If you're new here, we're doing an election night / election results day. So on the May the 8th, we'd be doing a results day live stream as the results come in across England, Scotland and Wales. Very excited for that. So do subscribe and hit the notification bell if you haven't already. So I was going to debut them then, but I thought, no, do you know what? I want to debut them now because I think it's in a place where I can present it, and I'm really excited about it. So we'll go and have a look at the new charts and this week's by-election roundup. So here it is. There is the totally my own work here. Let me know what you think in terms of design. I know it's very basic. I don't have a very good artistic eye. I've done all this myself with a lot of help from artificial intelligence. I don't mind adding. So yeah, let me know what you think in terms of design. Constructive feedback would be great. Keep the laughing to a minimum if you don't mind. That'd be fantastic. Let me know what you think, guys. Like I said, a number of you wanted to see some different charts, so here we are. This is what I've come up with. And yeah, anything you can let me know in terms of what you think before May. I'll try and implement as much as I can. And we'll see how it looks on the live stream. But we'll be using these from now on. So we'll get into this result. Barton and Winton up in Salford. So this was, as you can see down the bottom there, a reform gain from the Labour Party. And like I said, a much needed good news week for reform this week. So they've snuck ahead of Labour. They're on 35% of the vote, just under. Labour came down to 33%. So a very slender margin of victory there for reform, but managed to sneak into the lead. And then the Greens are on 18.7% again. Remember, I said in the last few weeks, they are starting to just show, you know, their vote share bar is starting to show a not insignificant amount on a number of these now, and then all the rest not really worth talking about, a long way behind there. So it's between those three. Let's go and have a look at how the vote shares changed from the last time this was up for election. And there they are. So you can see really there's two main movers, and it's Reform, who didn't stand here previously, straight in at just under 35% of the vote. Labour collapsing, and look, this is not uncommon, is it? And coming into May, I've said it a number of times, I don't think people are fully prepared for the sort of bloodletting that is coming Labour's way on the 7th of May. So they're down almost 30 points here in Salford, which was enough to see them lose the seat to Reform. And I've said previously, loads of seats like this where they had 60%, over 60% of the vote previously, where they're going to, you know, basically see their vote share half, which is what's pretty much happened here, almost. And that's gonna give people an opportunity to overtake them, namely Reform and the Greens in most circumstances, I expect. Yeah, look, I mean, another really bad result for Labour. I've been saying I expect them to decline by an average of 20 points on the 7th of May in the wards that they will be defending. I think that might be higher. I think it might be 25 points on average, as an average, you know. Let me know what you think in the comments. Do you think that's about right? Do you think that's a bit too much? Not enough, maybe? It could be even worse, potentially. But yeah, a very bad result for Labour up here. Look, good result for Reform, though. It's been a couple of bumpy weeks for Reform in terms of, you know, losing losing a couple of seats in the last 2 weeks. They obviously held one last week but lost one, and the week before that losing to the Greens as well. But here, a very strong result for them. And the Greens here, although they had a healthy vote share, actually didn't really improve that much, only up 4 points. So, yeah, not really worth talking. The Tories down here, 8 points. I mean, look, not an area of the country they're going to win. It's never been a Tory competitive area. But this is the interesting thing about reform, is how they are able to take away the Tory vote, but also be competitive against Labour in areas that the Tories never were. So very, very good result for reform here. And now, look, if you cast your eyes across to the right-hand side of the screen, we have the swing meter. Now, I thought I'd put this in here because it adds a bit of drama. In all honesty, it's not really fit for purpose, actually. It's really designed for two parties and a proper, pure two-party system like they have in America. It doesn't really work when you've got so many parties on the ballot paper, but it's a bit of fun, so we will go with it. So a swing of 32% Labour to Reform. A quick explanation of how that works. So essentially what this does, it takes the largest vote share increase and subtracts it from the subtracts from that the largest vote share decline. So in this case, you get the 34.9 for Reform minus 29.1, which, if you remember your GCSE maths, results in a positive number, and then it divides that in two, and you get the vote swing Labour to Reform. In this case, it actually doesn't work out too badly because, as you can see, as I said, those are the two main movers in either direction. There isn't really anyone else moving all that much. So actually, that's probably about right for this particular ward. But, for example, the Tories were down 8 points as well. We can assume that vote, majority of it, if not all of it, went to Reform. So it's not a pure 32% swing Labour to Reform, but it's a bit dramatic. I think it looks cool. I'm not entirely convinced on the look of the swing meter, so do feedback in the comments what you think about that, how you would like to see it change or improve. But there you go, a swing of 32% Labour to Reform. And look, big swings is what is going to be the order of the day in May when we do that live stream. We are going to see this swing meter is coded so that it maxes out at 25%. So that a 90-degree angle is 25% Labour to Reform, and it can't show further than that. So we're going to see loads of that with the needle on the stop, because there's going to be huge changes with Reform and the Greens as well in May. So that is Barton and Winton. Good result for Reform this week. Next stop, then, Newquay, Porth and Tretheris ward in Cornwall, and a good result again for Reform. They hold on to their seats here on Cornwall Council. They get 30% of the vote. It is down, which we'll look at in a minute, but I think they needed to hold on to this one this week, having lost 2 out of 3 in the last 2 weeks. Now they've lost 2 out of 4, so they're 50%, which is about right with their ratio, I think, in general. So, yeah, look, I think if they had lost, they would have at least had the good news story from Salford, but ultimately very good news for them that they won both seats this week, holding on to the one they already had. Good result for the Greens here, up to almost 25% of the vote and not that far behind Reform. Interesting that the Liberal Democrats down to 16.3, fourth, behind the Independent that got 16.9 there, and then Labour and the Conservatives way off in the distance behind all those. Let's have a look at the vote share changes then, and this is where we see. So look, Reform down 7.7 points is not too dramatic. It's more than 5%, which is my arbitrary limit on where I think is, margin of error, not that significant. So it is worth noting, but I think it's expected of a party that you have a party that's defending a seat. And also, in all fairness, as the Welsh Reformer said over on X, expected to happen when you've got more candidates in ballot paper, which is very true. The Greens and the Independent down here weren't on the ballot paper last time. That was always going to change the vote share slightly too, or is likely to. And Reform defending, you would always generally speaking, expect the defending party to lose some vote share. So I don't think it's all that dramatic for Reform this week. What is interesting is that Green votes, having not stood here in the election last year, straight into 25% of the vote. And what we really want to talk about here is, again, over on X, a very, very good point that was made by Kingslayer, Jamie Lannister himself, commenting on my post on X there. Another example of the Greens supplanting the Lib Dems where their vote was seemingly strong. Something to worry about for them. And it's absolutely right. Absolutely correct. And I said this a couple of weeks ago, I think. I think the Green Party is a massive blind spot for the Liberal Democrats. I think they have a portion of their voter base, the Greens, that is essentially the Liberal Democrat voter base. By that, I mean white, middle-class, English, British people who, for want of a better word, might be considered woke Maybe concerned about the environment. They are not against immigration, don't have much of an opinion on immigration and the illegal immigration thing. Basically the opposite of reform. And I think maybe some of the Liberal Democrat voters get a bit bored with the Liberal Democrats. Look, the Lib Dems have done nothing, frankly, since 2024. In the polls, they've stayed very much between 12 and 14%. I've said before, I don't think they are clear enough about what they actually stand for, other than not liking reform, not liking Nigel Farage, and not liking Donald Trump. And I think some of the Liberal Democrat voters are now looking at the Greens with Zach Balansky, who is more extreme than Ed Davey and the Liberal Democrats, but I think probably chimes with them on a lot of issues. And they see him/them, that's not a pronouns thing, I mean him individually and them as the party, as actually having a bit more oomph, a bit more determination to achieve these things that matter to the Liberal Democrat voters. So I think, look, say it quietly, but I've got a feeling the Liberal Democrats might be the underperformers surprise underperformers on the 7th of May. They've done very, very well in these by-elections in the last year and a half, 2 years since the general election. They've been clearly the second best performer after reform, but I think that the Greens are going to eat Labour's lunch, but I think tune in for the live stream on the 8th of May and we'll see together. Again, if you haven't already, please do subscribe to the channel. So I think that's the big thing to take away from this. The Independent also did very well, having not stood here last time, up to 17%. The Tories looked down 14 points. I mean, again, they get one good result last week in Northumberland, and you get all the Tory accounts on X saying they're back. This is a sign of they're back. And then the next week you get a result like this. So, it's very, very difficult to tell with the Tories at the moment. I maintain I don't think they're back. I think they're going to have a pretty poor result on the 7th of May. And I think things might change quite a lot after that, actually. But, there you go. I think that's what we've got to talk about now. On the swing meter, so this is where the swing meter is a bit funny. So, again, it's taking the biggest gain and subtracting from the biggest decline. So in this case, it's the Greens and the Tories. So you get a swing from Conservative to Green here of 20%. Now here, I mean, again, I'm not sure it works really all that well here. Like I was saying, this is where you have a very pluralist political system. You got, the Labour and the Lib Dems are down 10 points. Like I say, I think there's a big proportion of that Liberal Democrat vote, if not all of it, has gone to the Greens. So that's not reflected in the swing meter. But it's a bit of fun. It's a bit of fun, all right? So let me know what you think about it over there. And now we will go and have a quick look at next week. Just the one next week, and we're going to Tenbury Ward in Malvern Hills over in Worcestershire. So ignore the votes of the swing meter on this one. I hadn't really thought how I was going to do the preview. I'd forgotten about that bit, to be honest with you. I could have gone and used Election Maps' website, in all fairness, but I thought, let's just give the graph another outing today. So just ignore the swing meter. That's completely irrelevant for this part. So only 3 contested this election, or this seat, last time. It was won by a localist who held the Malvern Hills Independents, and it's their seat that is up for election, of course. They're not standing in this election, which is quite interesting. The Conservatives came a fairly close second place. Now, this is Conservative heartland territory. Malvern Hills is another one of those councils where 10 years ago the Conservatives had a majority here. Now they've only got, I think, 6 or 7 councillors, so it's another one of those places where they've been very much supplanted and replaced. So, look, can they fight back here and win this seat when they haven't got the independents standing? Reform are standing, of course, as are the Green Party. How you can see, didn't do too badly last time, although they finished in 3rd and last place. And I suppose only 3 people on the ballot paper. They did manage to get a 5th of the vote. So that's going to be very interesting to see, considering the momentum that they have right now. And again, this is another one of these wards that is not urban by any stretch of the imagination. This is very much a rural ward. Can the Greens have a breakthrough here? Because if they can really have a big breakthrough or get a good win here, then I think that changes the outlook a lot. If they can, if they can break out of just this being this inner city sort of party, which they mostly are at the moment. I know they do have some rural constituencies in Parliament as well, but for the most part, they are inner cities focused. So let's see what the Greens do. Of course, Reform, we've got to talk about them as well. Look, you never know with Reform. They could come through and get right up to 40% of the vote and take all of that independent vote, or they could not quite make it and be just behind either the Tories or the Greens. It'd be very, very interesting to see. If you live in the area, of course, or if you know more than I do, as always, please do get in the comments and let me know what you think is going to happen here in Malvern Hills. And of course, if you want to see the full preview and how I think it will play out, then follow on X, and the by-election preview will be out on Tuesday morning. And that is it for this week, guys. I hope you enjoyed how the charts look. Please do let me know in the comments what you think, the feedback on them. Let me know, like I say, anything you want to see different in terms of styling or information you'd like to see on there. I appreciate the turnout wasn't on there. Maybe that's something you want to see added in. Let me know if that is the case. And yeah, guys, as always, thank you very much for watching. Do go over to X and follow me over there. If you made it this far in the video and you haven't yet subscribed, thank you so much for making it to the end. Please do now consider subscribing, liking the video, and hitting the notification bell as well so you don't miss any future videos. Guys, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next week.